greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 14 of Thunder in the Heather, the story of John Knox. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and is brought to you from the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago.
What sort of generals do I have? Why, they are fools!
Madame, as spiritual advisor to the court of Scotland, I must remind you that you have the prayers and support of the Kirk, as well as armies to defend you.
Dossel, you are commander of my forces. Can you explain to me how my troops could be ordered to retreat before the Protestants?
Madame, we expected to outnumber the rebels easily. We had no idea their forces were so great.
Were you blind?
Well, there was a morning mist on the hills. We could see only a few spears on the slope behind the Eden stream. Our army edged toward St. Andrews, and as the mist lifted, then we saw a great multitude of rebels, with artillery and every man armed. The men had rope around their necks,
Rope?
and to show they would hang or be hung, but never surrender.
So, of course, you ran before a bit of rope.
Madame!
Oh, I tell you, Dossel, we must fight yet, and fight hard, for there will be no help from France.
No help? Oh, I cannot believe it.
Well, that is too bad, my commander, for you will learn to believe it.
But why?
At first, the King of France wrote that he would be pleased to send as much help as possible if the rebels were truly menacing royal authority, but none for a religious rebellion. His policy in such cases would be moderation and tolerance. I sent messengers to him immediately, assuring him that the crown was threatened.
Oh, but then we must play for more time. He will send help.
From the grave?
Madame!
The grave?
My messengers returned with the news that the king had been fatally wounded in a tournament, and his death expected imminently. As they left Paris, preparations were being made for the coronation of that sickly half-wit Francis II.
Such talk will be more harmful to your crown than all the Protestant forces in Scotland, Madame.
You were very clever to marry your young daughter to Francis. Now she will be Queen of France as well as Queen of Scotland.
But it is all too late to help us now. We must march on Edinburgh and see what can be done.
Perhaps another treaty with Mr. Knox?
He would not believe it for an instant. We have found him to be no fool.
Even so, if he would accept it for a short while, it would give us a little more time to negotiate with France for help.
We shall try, but we must march on Edinburgh.
God maketh us a strife unto our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves. But God will turn us again. He will cause his face to shine, and we shall be saved. Congregation of Jesus Christ, there are reasons why God has permitted us to suffer defeat on the road to Edinburgh. There are traitors in our midst, and God desires that we all shall taste of his wrath upon them. And ye who boast of the help that England has sent to us, does not God want his people to know how helpless we are without divine aid? Did he not permit the regent's troops to intercept the English money? Did he not permit mutiny among the Protestant troops that were to help us? And last of all, and grandest, God desires that the generations to come be given a testimony to both the devil's malice against God's elect and God's own marvelous ways of providing deliverance. In these days of desertions and defeat, the reprobate among you will fall to the wayside. Only the elect will remain with us, and the sooner the deserters go, the better. God desires a holy, consecrated people to whom to give victory. Why did God permit the Israelites to suffer defeat? To purify them, until only the elect remained. Scotsmen, Let us turn to God in sincerity, and our cause will triumph.
Knox! John Knox!
Lord Glencairn, what news?
Come into the tent. Can't you stop all the talk of Israel and God's wrath, of repentance, the overthrow of idols? Can't you appeal to the patriotism of the men? Perhaps that's a lower sentiment, Mr. Knox, but it's a lot livelier one.
I didn't tell ye how to fight, Lord Glencairn.
I am sorry, John. I've not had my boots off for 10 days. My kilt is dripping mud.
Aye, the men suffer terribly from the winter rains.
That they do. They fight from the first ray of morning until late at night.
Many have fled.
Worse than that, the common folk are turned against us. When I rode into the village this morning for fresh supplies, the people threw stones at me, called me a traitor and a heretic. I can hardly believe how the tide is turned.
I knew that when the people saw our casualties and desertions, they'd turn away. I didn't expect otherwise.
What's the use in going on with this war? We have few men left, and all they are fighting with is courage. Why should we wait until they fall on this blood-soaked earth?
We must not faint, but must row with all our might against the storm until Christ comes.
I heard you preaching that. But how can you wait for a miracle?
My heart trembles as I pray. But we must not fall before the forces of the devil.
I still would laugh to see us, Master Knox. And I am tired. So tired.
The regent is jubilant. When she heard the report, she cried, "Where is John Knox God now?" Now she has learned to respect Commander Doissel.
Do you not think we should press a march? With one thrust, we could completely rout these heretics.
I am in no hurry to lose my Frenchman in battle, Jardine, when I can just as well crush the Protestant without bloodshed and with a more glorious display. As my men march through the coastal villages, the people fall like a harvest of wheat before them.
Oh, oui, but it takes so much time.
And why should we make haste? We have them cut off. We have intercepted the money and soldiers sent by England. We are the victors already. Only a miracle can save the rebels now. And miracles do not happen to heretics.
I am so happy this campaign is almost over. I shall be a new person when I return to France.
You think too much of Nicole.
Oh, you do not know her. Oh, she is different from all the rest.
Perhaps. It is a cold morning.
That is because you do not have love in your heart. I am warm.
There is a strong wind off the sea. Oh, this country. It is terrible.
You see only the bad. You talk of the cold wind, but you do not see the beauty of the sun on the water.
It is a pain in my eyes. What did I see?
Pierre, what is the matter with you?
Sails. Look. English sails.
You are mad. Where?
To the south. They are making fast for the coast of Scotland.
John! The English have seized the French ships and cut off their communications.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay.
And Lord Kirkcaldy has routed the French army, and they're fleeing along the road to Stirling.
All this for a few English sails. If the English army would arrive, we could cast the whole French force into the sea.
If we can trust the English,
We trust God.
Even with the war on, the Reformed preachers are going up and down the land, and multitudes of women and old folk are coming out to hear them. And the French army rushing on the main road with no time to stop, not even for food.
There's nothing as brave as a true Scot, Glencairn. Nothing.
Robbie, are you in the pantry?
I have come for food.
We are very poor. We have little food ourselves.
I said food.
Mother? Mother?
Oh, go sit on your chair, Robbie.
Food!
I have some bread, that is all.
Hurry!
Here.
What is that in the pot on the fire?
Please, that is my children's dinner. We had no more than that stew in a whole house. You can't ask me to give you that.
I will take it with me. Give it here.
You didn't understand. We would starve.
Give it to me, I say.
Oh.
What are you doing? You put me down, you mad woman.
I'll give you a good whapping you won't forget. French pig. You can wash up your blood in my water trough.
On Mr. Knox. She held him in the water trough and would have drowned him for trying to steal a children's supper, but for the fact that an old man came by and let him out, gasping, running back to the French army.
You'll not keep folk like that long in tyranny. To Rome or to France.
All the same, I wish the fighting were really over. There have been heavy English losses, as well as French and Scottish.
But it can't be end before long. All the fighting is over in the countrysides and towns. Only Edinburgh is besieged. And word comes that the battle goes well for us there.
Aye, but know that Lord Bothwell leads his army himself. There may be longer fighting than we think.
Aye, he's a brilliant soldier. Would that we had him on our side.
Not him. He's gained too much from being loyal to the crown.
Yet for all his shilly-shallying to the regent, he has a loyalty about him that a man can't help stop admiring.
Aye. If you think there's great thing to be loyal to a female crown.
Aye. Who was that riding to the camp?
Kirkcaldy.
Oh, what's he shouting?
A truce, Mr. Knox. The Queen Regent has died, and Bothwell has called a truce.
And so we conclude Chapter 13 of Thunder in the Heather, the story of John Knox. This has been another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and is produced in the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.